today I'd like to welcome you to the Financial Wednesday. Oh, Financial Wellness Wednesday. Yes, that's what it is. I have been inspired by Lisa Manfredi from Autonomy to talk about finances on a Wednesday. In Autonomy, which is part of the University of Reason, it's an epic course that can teach you everything can teach you how to understand the world, how to create your own jobs, how to monetize any skill you have, and how to really get the skills that are worth something in today's market, and do it independently without having to go to work and take a job. If you want to, you can, but it's not necessary, because with the Autonomy education, you have all the skills it takes to do whatever you want. And so Lisa Manfredi is part of Autonomy, and she's my friend in Autonomy, and she's our financial expert. And every Wednesday she has Wealth Battle Wednesdays. That's what it's called, Wealth Battle Wednesdays, where she plays games and does some educational talks, I think, on financial wealth and financial health of your budget, of your ability to make money, how to, there's all these different things. So let's talk about it. What are the different ways that we could make money? Like, okay, we could get a job, right? So that's one thing. But, from experience, I have to tell you that when you get a job and you're working the 9 to 5, it's almost like you're in a little box, right? The expectation of the money comes from your salary. So you expect to get this much money every month, and it's a set amount, right? So every whatever paycheck, every week or every 2 weeks, you get a set amount, right? How can you create unlimited wealth, or create whatever you want, or stretch out or reach out, if you're in this box? And the whole 9 to 5 situation is really designed to keep you powerless, essentially, because by the time you get to this job and you spend 8 hours working in it, and then you get back home, it's been like 10 or 12 hours, right? Depending where you live and how far from work, right? You've spent money, and the whole 9 to 5 lifestyle is a very strange situation. Now, I'm not judging anybody. I spent most of my life working in a 9 to 5 job, so I'm not like, oh, I'm so much better. I just realized that for the last 10 years, when I haven't, well, maybe more than 10 years, but really I haven't left the house to go to the office for 10 years now. My life has been different. And a lot of the money I used to spend on maintaining my 9 to 5 job, like, all these expenses like lunch boxes and, mosquitoes, lunch boxes and special clothing and special shoes and the umbrellas and whatever you need for the train ride, and all of this stuff. It's like having another responsibility on another child. If you don't have any of that, if you don't go to the train, if you don't go to lunch, if you don't need a lunch box, you don't need special clothing, different clothing for your work versus your home. It's freed me in an incredible way. It really has. But from my perspective, back 10 years ago when I was still in 9 to 5, I was a little confused. I didn't know what I could do, right? I started small, I really did. And that was probably a good thing, because in my family, no one ever has broken that 9 to 5 thing. I didn't know anybody who, like, either people worked or they didn't work. And if they didn't work, they were just jobless, whatever. My uncle didn't work at times. My grandma didn't work, but she was retired. But is that really a way to make money? No, that's just a way not to make money. And then these 9 to 5 people, they made money, but it was just like a set amount every month. So whether you're worth this much an hour or that much an hour, that's your worth. And then at one point, I remember, before I was 30, I was told that $20 an hour was the absolute maximum that I could possibly expect. And I shouldn't expect anything better, because why would I? And, as a female in the office world, that was supposedly pretty good, $23 an hour. Why am I complaining? What am I doing wrong? And in reality, once you spend all that money to get there, and for clothes and for the lunch boxes and all that stuff, it turns out that it's not that much money. That $20 an hour shrinks pretty fast. And then you add to that inflation and everything, and it doesn't seem to be sufficient anymore. But then once I broke out of that, once I was able to step away from the 9 to 5 and step into a different world, things completely changed for me, and now I can, I could make $1,000 in 3 days if I want to, or $5,000 if I really, put my mind to it, because I don't, I don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. I can allow my creativity to be completely free and come up with whatever project. And right now I'm involved in several different projects, all of them major, all of them creating an impact in the world in a positive way. At the same time, they're coming back to me with money, my efforts are being returned by financial gains. And I absolutely do not have to work for 8 hours a day. I maybe do because I have so many different projects and but it's more like, in my world now, it's more like playing on a bunch of different playgrounds. Oh, I'm going to play here. And oh, now it's the afternoon, I'm going to go play over there. And oh, I love this game, so I'm going to go play that game for a bit. But all these games are really work, right? So how can you create the situation where your work becomes a game and you don't have to work 8 hours a day? You can work 3 hours and then read or study or do whatever you would like to anyway for the rest of the day. So how I started it with, I really brainwashed myself, like with the manifestation affirmation kind of situation. I really kept repeating to myself, I want to have multiple streams of income. I want to have multiple streams of income. And so slowly the streams of income started reaching out. But as long as I was in that 12-hour commute or 10-hour commute a day, I really didn't have a lot of energy to do anything else. I had no idea that you could do it differently. I knew there were people, but I remember walking around the mall at 10 o'clock in the morning going, my God, how awesome it would be if I could just like go shopping at 10 a.m. for no reason, any day I want. How cool would it be if I didn't have to be there with the crowds after work, fighting for the last sock in the supermarket, Oh, those are my favorite socks. It's the perfect season for them. Anyway, I don't have to do any of that anymore. But branching out, so I started doing different things. I started doing face painting at parties, which is like for the children, the little stuff on their faces, or like the whole face thing, and getting paid. And I decided, after several years of doing this, I decided that I wouldn't leave the house for less than $100. So that kind of started me off on that. Okay, you can get $100 for an hour and a half worth of work, right? You don't have to spend the $20. They already told you that $20 is maximum you can get. But then look at this. But this is not a full-time job. This is a completely different thing, right? This is something that we're doing for fun, but yet it brings a little bit of money, right? And then I had another gig, a little writing gig on the side, and then that brought a little bit of money. And then, I helped a couple people. I ended up getting a coaching degree. So by the time I had a coaching degree, I had some coaching clients too. So I got some money that way. But it was still a really hard, as long as I was commuting to work and commuting back and doing all that work, right? It was still, for me, it wasn't as effortless as it is now. But now, 10 years later, 10 long years, maybe even 12 years since my last real job. And now I can do whatever I want, anytime I want. I have deadlines, of course. I have clients who expect certain work at a certain time. But at the in-between time, I can go to the beach at any time of the day I want, as long as there's no pressing deadline. Any Tuesday afternoon, I can find myself in a restaurant, on the beach, shopping, whatever I want. Or Wednesday morning, or whatever. And I do really believe in that multiple streams of income thing. If I was expecting one client to pay all of my bills, like as if I had a job, how when you have a job, the one client pays for all your bills. This way, if I were to expect one person, it would be extremely stressful for both me and those people, because those people my clients don't necessarily have the money to hire somebody like me on a full-time basis, especially now that my price is, $50 to $150 an hour, maybe $200 in different projects, right? And that's why is that possible when 20 years ago I was told that $20 an hour was the most I could ever make? How is that possible? How is that possible? Well, I slowly broke down the barriers. I slowly broke through the programming, and I was able to see myself through taking courses as well, of course. Psychosomatic therapy was a great way to really find my own balance and my own center, because I was able to stand in my own power and autonomy was an incredible experience in really freeing myself from the last vestiges of programming and really allowing me to think I can do whatever I want. I mean, how do you think I found myself on the beach in Mexico, right? I'm living here in this crazy world, totally different from anything I've ever lived with. But in a way, all of the things that I ever manifested or all of the things that I ever wished for have come true. And I even have somebody taking care of my housework and you know, doing some prep cook and for me, so I can really focus on my projects. I don't have to clean the dishes. I don't have to do my laundry. You know, life has been amazing. It's an amazing journey. But it didn't start getting amazing until after I broke away from the 9 to 5, which holds you like a binding, like having a ball and chain on your legs, like being shackled to something that you can't really break free from. And I'm not saying that you can't be successful and be awesome with the 9 to 5 job. I'm just saying that you could probably break through that financial barrier and really look outside the box if you freed yourself to do whatever project your heart desires. And you know, they always say that if you do the projects that really move your heart, that's going to get you the most money, right? When you're stepping into the project without worrying about how much money you're going to make from it, but really embracing it with your whole heart, because that's what you want. That's what you want to lead you in life, is your heart. So my advice for today is stepping into multiple streams of income, even on a small scale. Will try to open up that little box for you a little bit, and then stepping out of that 9 to 5 box and starting your projects, passion projects, and allowing that to take you, like allowing that wave to take you wherever you want. Just make sure you keep your vibration up and practice some financial responsibility. Thank you. Good night.